Hey guys, welcome to video number 2 of the Creative Money Labs. Thank you for joining me again. Today's video is going to be about my goals for 2026. It's to show you how those smaller bits of goals can really help with the bigger picture. And I want to show you my bigger picture because I want you to get an idea of what I'm trying to get to. As I said before, I am behind and I'm trying to catch up. And the only way to catch up when time is against you is by investing and saving more. That's the only way because, time isn't really an option anymore. I mean, sure, it's still an option. I'm not retiring tomorrow, but I don't have 40 years to profit from the compounding system. You need to start early. You need to start pretty much from the get-go. When you start working, even earlier if you can. It wasn't my case. I wasn't raised that way. I wasn't raised in the US. In the US standpoint, I'm pretty behind. I'm not in a bad place, but I'm not in the best place. So it's really a matter of having this bigger picture and set up any sorts of strategies that I can put in place to catch up. I'll show you the spreadsheets for the side income first because that's what the channel is about and we will be focusing on those creative projects. And then I will show you the bigger picture, my sinking funds, my investment overall, but then I will also show you my scenarios. I have the realistic scenario, the medium scenario, and I have the very optimistic scenario. Let's jump into the spreadsheets. Starting with the realistic scenario in terms of a revenue, net revenue. So we're talking net revenue here, just to be clear. So this is my full-time, my rental, and some other side income, which I know I'll get. The net revenue would be $105,000, that's net. When looking at this yearly, what it means is I'll be saving $3,200 in emergency fund, $12,000 into my brokerage for the year, my HSA $4,400, which is maxing out, my 401k that's through my employer, which is $8,100, and that is only because I am doing the match, so I'm contributing up to the match of my company, but I'm not contributing more than the match because the account that we have for this 401k has very limited amount of funds that we can invest in, and I like to have the freedom to invest in the funds that I want to invest in. So that's why I feel comfortable just doing the match. I'll talk about that in future videos in more details. And then my Roth IRA, $7,500, again, is the match for 2026. My solo 401k, in that case, I'm not finding it at this point, but I'll start putting money in for the other scenarios. The dream trip, $5,200, it's in Asia. Travel to France, so that thinking fund is because since I have a Louise and since I'm making slightly better income, what I've been doing is I try to travel first class because it's more comfortable for Louise. I keep her in the cabin with me, so there is more space in front of the seat and it just feels more comfortable overall. So that's why I started to do a sinking fund for my trips to France. I go back home twice a year and every time I stay for a month, so I like to account for that. And then Louise, I would want to have $1,800 saved for her by the end of the year. Facial self-care would be $1,200. Taxes for 2027, $1,800. And then NYDC, something that I have not talked about, and I will talk about it, but I am the founder of the New York Design Club. And what we do is we do speaker events and we do publications. So that requires money. I'm starting to save more towards that because I know there is always expenses. Whenever we have an event coming up or anything, there are always expenses. So that's another thinking fund. And finally, sabbatical. So I want to take a sabbatical at some point in the future. I'm not exactly sure when, but I'll keep it simple. But basically, I have an emergency fund. To me, emergency fund and money I want to save for my sabbatical are very different targets. The emergency fund, I really just want to use when there is an actual emergency, like I lost my job or something, The sabbatical is really just if one day I decide I want to take 6 months off, I really need that, and I just already want to have some money, a bit of padding, so that I can breathe during the sabbatical and not actually take money into my emergency fund. So that's the difference in my mind. Total investment on my realistic scenario would be $32,000. On my savings would be $21,000. Then into the middle range scenario, and I'll go fast because now I think hopefully you get the idea of what I'm trying to do. So we're looking at an increase of $10,000 between my realistic and that middle range scenario, which requires for me to push more in terms of selling on my store or freelance gigs. And if I was to make that amount of money, I would have 115,000 revenue net for the year. So I would put $4,300 into my emergency fund, $15,000 into my brokerage. The HSA, the 401k, the Roth IRA will not change because it's either maxed out or I'm just meeting the match from my company, so that's not changing. I would start contributing to the solo 401k employee side if I was to make $12,000 or $15,000 in side income. I would probably save about $2,000 into my solo 401k. The rest would go into probably brokerage. And then my dream trip would be $6,000, travel to France, $2,800. These are all my sinking funds, right? Louise would be $2,000, my facial self-care would be $1,500, taxes 2027 would be $2,000, NYDC would be $2,400, sabbatical would be $4,200, for a total of $62,200 in savings and investment. And breaking it down, the total investment would be $37,000 and the total savings would be $25,200. I know it may seem like a lot to some people, and I think it is, to be honest. I think it's pretty decent if I'm basing things on the benchmark for the US. I feel like for savings and investment, it's a good percentage. It's 50% of the income, which is huge. I did move from New York, which is a very expensive city, to Philadelphia, where it's a cheaper city, for this exact reason, where my lifestyle improved greatly and I can save more money because I'm late in my investment and in my retirement journey. So it was a change and a relocation that was made on purpose. And finally, my optimistic scenario. So my optimistic scenario equates to an extra $20,000 from my realistic scenario. So that definitely requires getting extra money from good freelance, really selling on my stores and stuff. So is this one achievable? Put a big question mark on it. But, I'm putting it out into the universe and we'll see what happens. So if I was to make $125,000 net for the year, I would fund my emergency fund with $8,000, $16,000 for the brokerage. Again, HSA 401k, IRA will not change. They will remain the same. Solo 401k, I would put $3,000. And then my dream trip would be $6,000, travel to France $3,000, Louise $2,000, facial self-care $1,600, taxes for 2027 $2,400, NYDC $3,000, and my sabbatical for $6,000, for a total of $71,000 in savings and investment. The way they would be broken down would be total investment of $39,000 and total savings of $32,000 for the year, which again equate to $71,000 in investment and savings for 2026, which I know it's massive. It's a lot of money. I'm actually over 50% of my income here, which, it's a lot. So we'll see what happens. It's definitely a hard goal and not sure we'll make it. But again, I'm not going to stress myself out. I have my medium range one, which I would already be so pleased to achieve. And who knows, with some luck and something and some hard work, maybe I can achieve a little more. Maybe it won't be up to the optimistic scenario result, but it can be maybe in between or something. We'll see. So this is just my scenarios for 2026. Now jumping into the actual goals, and we're going to jump into the goals. And at this point, the spreadsheet I haven't done, and I'll put the link to it in the description below. It's from Layla. She has a channel on YouTube. I think it's called Finance with Laila. Again, I forgot the name, but she's on there. I'll put all the links in. So if you want to purchase this specific spreadsheet, you can do so on Etsy. I think it's $5. It's a great spreadsheet. So the way this is divided for my side income, I have an Etsy store. I already have the Etsy store. I've had it for, I think, 4 years or something. And I'm putting $1,000 goal for the year. It's not a lot. Etsy takes a lot of fees, believe it or not. And I'm not really pushing very hard into marketing and stuff for Etsy. So based on that and knowing what I made the other years, I think $1,000 is a pretty realistic number. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking my products from Etsy and I'm going to move them to my own store as well. So I'll have Etsy and my store, at least to start, and we'll see what happens later. And the reason for that is because Etsy comes with its own audience, which is great. And it's great for beta testing. You can test your products, see if it makes sense, see if it sells at all, see if it actually has any sorts of interest. And that's the reason why I want to keep my Etsy store. But with Etsy, you cannot really build your own audience and you cannot really retarget later on. You cannot collect email addresses. So because of that, I want to start my own shop. Some of the products will be the same ones. One of them in particular is my bestseller. My store, I'm hoping for $2,500 in revenue. That is optimistic because I'm starting out and I need to do the marketing for it. I need to attract people on it. Freelance, I'm thinking 10K. Honestly, if I could do less, that would mean less work for me, because in that case, freelance is really time for money, so it's me working outside of my full-time job and getting paid for the work I'm doing. And so knowing that I already have full-time job, it's nice to have an extra 10K, but it's also time for money. If I can find other more passive source of income, I would rather, but we will see. But I'm putting 10K right now. We'll see. And then there is YouTube. So that's you guys. And so I'm going to need you to watch the crap out of my videos in order to get money from AdSense. But, jokes aside, I am not counting on YouTube this year at all. But I had to put a number on it still. So for AdSense, I put $1,000. That is assuming I'm being monetized in 2026. Which, in all fairness, is quite unlikely. I mean, a lot of creatives or content creators out there that are on YouTube don't monetize on the first year. It takes them at least a year, sometimes 2 years. Sometimes, it takes 6 months. So again, no idea what's going to happen there. I'm just being optimistic, putting it into the universe. Hey, universe, for $1,000, completely random number. Really no clue what's going to happen with this. This is the first YouTube channel I'm making. I have no other examples or past experience where I can base this statement on. So we will see. Affiliate program through YouTube. I cannot monetize with AdSense to start with, but maybe I can get a few bucks there and there for affiliate program. Now, I put a $500 goal for the whole year, which seems quite high already, honestly. And then that's assuming people use your link and go all the way to checkout and purchase the stuff. Chances are pretty low, honestly. So $500 is pretty optimistic. And then my overall YouTube would be $1,500. Then my overall side income, if I was to account for my store, my freelance, and YouTube, would be $14,000, which would be really nice to get an extra $14,000 for 2026. It would be nice because that's definitely extra cash that I can save and invest. And based on those scenarios I was talking about, this is based off of the medium range scenario that I walk you through. I already know some of that probably will happen. So this is for my side income, right? So this is just side income. That's it. That has nothing to do with my full-time and none of it. Now I'm going to show you my financial goal for 2026, but at a broader level, the big picture numbers. That includes everything. It includes my full-time, my side income, all of it. And so as you can see, we have the 10K freelance, and the 5K side income. So freelance is freelance. It's 1099 contracts. It's me being hired by somebody to produce something. It's time for money, as I said earlier. And then my 5K is like my online store, my rental, potentially YouTube. So the 5K is actually, I'm differentiating the 5K to the 10K because to me, they're a slightly different source of income. And then in terms of what I want to invest monthly, and this is again, big picture, right? That includes my full-time income. That includes my side income. That includes any sort of money that will come that I can save. Like when I'm in France, I'm obviously not spending too much money, so I can save more money. I have a settlement that might come from a court case that I will talk about in another video that will have its own video because it's coming from a creative source of work that I did years ago. And it's a very interesting case actually, so that will be its own video. And then my investment goal in an ideal world would be 5K per month. That is a very aggressive goal. That would mean that I'm putting in investment $5,000 a month, which is $60,000 a year. Now that's a lot of money. And that's just investment, right? That doesn't account for savings. That's just investment. So it's a ton of money. Now I know this is very aggressive and I probably won't be reaching that goal. At least I could reach that goal for a couple of months in the year, but I'm not going to be reaching that goal for every single month in the year. There is no way. But the more realistic number that I'm looking at for that is more like $3,000 based on what I know what I'm making for my full time, based on some of the money I can save, some of the extra income I can make. I think $3,000 in investment alone feels a lot more realistic. This is based off my realistic scenario. So if I can already save 3K, I'll be more than happy. So 5K is really just the aggressive number. My mom has this cuckoo thing, this very French. It freaks my dog every time. She's just like, what the heck is this thing? Although she is not caring right now. She's just chilling. Now, so that's for the investment. And for my savings for 2026, I'm looking at $25,000 for the year. And again, if I'm going back to my scenarios, the $25,000 in savings is in my middle range scenario. The realistic one would be $21,000. And then the final one is just one that I do for shits and giggles. To be honest, my spending, ideally, I would not spend more than $50,000 a year. And that's pretty much it for the goals for 2026. I mean, that's how I'm breaking it down. Some of it is a bit aggressive. Some of it is a big question mark because I have no idea what's going to happen. And then the next video, which will come in January 2026, will be about strategy. So at this point, we're going to start getting into what I'm doing for my creative side income in terms of like my new store, which probably will be on Squarespace, and what I will do for freelance or try to get freelance contract, and what I will do for potentially other side income, and even my strategy for YouTube. I mean, it will not be monetized straight away, but the affiliate program I can set up, so that's a bit of strategy that will probably put into place. So I will walk you through all those things for my January video. The very first video of the month will be about my strategy. So I'll walk you through any strategies that I'm going to put in place for the month. And then at the end of the month, we'll look at numbers and stats and everything that came out of all this strategy. Could be sales, could be stats for YouTube and all that stuff. I think I'll add in a third video through the months, maybe not every month, but there are some topics that I want to talk about, only also because it will give context to what we're doing. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for now anyway. So in the meantime, I have to edit now this video and I'll be posting it before the end of 2025. So it's all set for early 2026. I'm only coming back to the States on January 4th. At which point I need to record my strategy video. So I'm thinking the strategy video will not come until a little later once I'm back. In the meantime, guys, Happy New Year. Enjoy your holidays. I hope you have some time off. Please take some time off. Coming from a French person, we are the king of time off. So please make sure you take some. And it's important for your mental health. I know we want to keep going always. I mean, I'm on vacation right now and I'm doing this, but it's fun. I don't mind doing it. But we always want to keep going. Try and remember that it's not just all about work and money, but it's also about family and cute puppies. Again, I'm going to show it. Hello. Hello. Oh my God, she looks crazy right now. What is that? What is that? You look like a crazy little puppy. Yeah. See, she's tired. She's jet lagged, just like me. Have a really nice holidays, guys. Enjoy. Eat a lot of food, and we'll get rid of the extra weight in January or not. We'll see. But yeah, in the meantime, you all have a great time, and I'll see you in 2026. Bye, guys.